Hey guys, Magentas is back here today again with another future card Buddyfight deck profile. And of course, as promised, it will be on my Magic World, the wizard build, the new wizard build featuring the witches. Well, technically they are wizards, but well, they just have witch in their card name. So let's get on with the deck profile. Alright, Magic World. And our body monster is just a vanilla card, Kenji of the Explosive Fists. So just a vanilla monster, 4k power, 1 critical. So basically the boss card of the deck is just the witches. So size 3 monster, we run 6 copies of the witches, 3 copies of the new witch, Witch of Illusions, Luvia the Mirage. Call cost, pay 3 gauge, 6k power, 6k defense and 2 criticals. And it has abilities and double attack. Counter act, you may discard a wizard from your hand. If you do, for this turn, a card on your opponent's field gets minus 2k power defense, minus 2k power and defense, and minus 1 crit. And second effect, when you cast a spell during your turn, draw a card. This ability only activates once per turn. So it's the new witches. No, basically just the witches. They focus on discarding, and yeah, she has a special effect, right? When you discard, you can give your opponent's monster. No, actually not monster. A card gets minus power, defense, and critical. It's really good. So 3 copies of the new witch and 3 copies of the old witch. So Witch of Destruction, Hati the Devastator. Similarly, call cost of 3 gauge as well, and same stats, and both with double attack. So obviously they are meant to be played together. Alright, his skill, Act, Magica Blaster. You may discard a wizard from your hand. If you do, destroy a monster on your opponent's field. This ability may be only used once per turn. So they're different in a sense that one of them is used to counter your opponent, while the other is just used to destroy your opponent's monster. And of course, second part of the effect, Luminous Shadow. When this card is linked attack, you may discard a wizard from your hand. If you do, nullify the link attack. So this card stays on the field. I mean, both of them equally, they both stay on the field well. I mean, you get the counter, minus power from your opponent's cards, and this being able to nullify the link attack. So different situations call for different measures. So if you need to destroy monsters, you would use Hati the Devastator, and if you need the draw from Luvia, then you use Luvia. So 6 copies for maximum consistency. I mean, any more than that, like 8 copies, it's way too overkill. You do not want to be stuck with too many size 3s because they're not going to be really useful. So for the bunch of monsters we run, Firestarter Gunzak 1 copy, just vanilla 3 critical monster. Next, 1 copy Barrier Master Shadow Flash, 1 copy Drago Wizard Rainbow Horn, just vanilla as well. Barrier Master Shadow Flash is basically a nullify, but we're not going to actually use them. And Magical Mage Disciple Rodi, also another vanilla monster. So the point of running such a crap load of these 4 copies of different monsters, in fact, it's just because the fact that we're running Great Spell Outlang Sign in our deck. So yeah, it fills up the... I'll go through it when I actually talk about the Great Spell. Basically, the Great Spell requires 7 or more different wizards in drop zone. Yeah, and that's why you need to have 7 or more different wizards. So, of course, we have 2 size 3s and we need the fillers. So, on-length sign, it works really well with the witches because you get to discard a wizard. So of course you get to decide which wizard to discard, and of course you can discard a different wizard. So next, 4 copies of the body monster. Probably not really good. but it's also just another filler in the deck. So these are all the fillers. Of course, we need actual wizards for discarding. So of course, the new set provided Magic World with a bunch of new wizards. Battle Wizard, the Straight. Yeah, so when this card is discarded from your hand, you may pay 1 life. If you do, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge. So gauge issues, this deck shouldn't have any, because basically this card acts as a first volume, Key of Solomon first volume. So this is the actual support for this build, this deck's build, and of course Battle Wizard, the Ace. When this card is discarded from your hand, you may pay 1 life. If you do, draw a card. 3 copies only, because basically because size zeros are not that useful. I mean, you could run with 4, but I like 3. Basically, you get to recycle your hand, but with Luvia the Mirage, you do not need to recycle your hand, because it basically already recycles your hand when you cast a spell. So 3 copies only, more space for other spells, spells or monsters in fact. Alright, so that's it for the monsters. For Magic World, monsters are not the key. However, in this deck, it's pretty important as well. Alright, so let's get on with the important spells. 2 copies of Great Spell, All Lang Syne. You may only cast this card if you have 7 or more wizards in the drop zone. So this is what I said. Oh, 7 of these wizards. I think I have a majority of them. I mean, this is the golden pack. This guy is probably Elbrecht. This guy is Will Glassard. This guy is Lich. This guy is Dunkelheit. I have no idea who this is. And this is Genjuro Saki. And this is I forgot his name, but it's like Herb Magician something. So these, alright, just some trivia. Both of them reduce, these two, they reduce cast cost of your spells. Yeah, whatever. Alright, get to the actual spell. The art is awesome, by the way. 7 different wizards. Alright, cast cost, discard your entire hand and pay 3 gauge. Put a card from your drop zone into your hand. Then return all cards from your drop zone into your deck. Shuffle it and your life becomes 10. So if your life is 1, you can use this to gain 9 life. So basically it resets your life to 10. If you have more than 10 life, you're basically minusing yourself for whatever reason. So in Magic World, you have a lot of super strong draw power, so you draw a lot. So drawing a lot means you fill up your drop zone really quickly as well. However, so this acts as a way to return the drop zone cards into your deck, so you have more things in your deck, and also it resets your life to 10. That's really good. So preferably you want to use this when you only have like 1 card or 2 cards in your hand. Like, keep your hand size to a minimal when you want to use this, so you can. A good thing to note would be to call out the monsters first. Alright, so just 2 copies of that. So of course, support for Great Spell or Lang Syne would be 2 copies of Never Say Never. So put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge, then if there are no cards in your hand, draw 2 cards. You may only cast Never Say Never once per turn. So it increases your gauge and of course gives you hand. So it works really well with All Lang Syne, because after discarding your hand, you put a drop zone, a card from your drop zone into your hand. So you will be left with 1 card. So you can, hopefully you get Never Say Never in your drop zone, so you can take it out and put it into your hand. So put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge and draw 2 cards. So basically you're getting 2 cards for a chance of better cards, of course. So this card works really well with All Lang Syne. Alright, so that's it for the combo spells. Of course, we're moving on to the actual spells that we need to survive. Okay, 2 copies of That's How I Roll. So this card is Nullify Attack. Attack nullification is important because you want to survive. So this only works when a size 2 or greater monster on your field is being attacked, and counter nullify the attack. So before we talk about that, we have to go with we need to talk about a set spell. Happy Camper. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, choose a wizard monster on your field. During this turn, when your opponent card attack, change the target of the attack to that monster. Basically, choose one of your wizard and give it the Raging Spirit effect. So basically the monster eats the hit for you, whether it's on the left, right, or the center. So preferably you want to call your monster to the side, so you won't be affected by penetrate in any way. Okay, so yeah, it works with that's how I roll. So you nullify when your size 2 or greater monster is being attacked. So it works with link attack as well. That's why we don't use Solomon's Shield. Of course, if you think that's it for the nullifiers, that's not it. So we run 4 copies of It's All Cool. Basically, your Battle Aura Circle. Nullify the attack. If you may only cast this if you do not have a monster in the center. 4 copies, because the point is we want our wizard to be on the right or the left. So we can use Happy Camper to redirect the attacks. And when our center is empty, we can use this, which is a much better card compared to Key of Solomon's Shield. And of course 2 copies of Chillax, because Chillax is a damage reduction, which means when your opponent's attacks cannot be nullified, you still have a damage reduction. Yeah, it works against impacts as well. For impacts that are actually balanced, unlike Gargantua Punisher and its whole series of cards. So Chillax, pay 1 gauge, basically the Gold Dragon Shield effect, and you gain 1 life. So you reduce the damage to 0. So yeah, essentially you are not taking any damage and you gain 1 life. It's also life gain in the deck, which is pretty good. So in Magic World, spells are important. That's why we have a ton more spells. 2 copies of Trio. Pay 1 gauge, pay 1 life, put a monster from a drop zone into your hand. You may only cast Trio once per turn. So basically it acts as like extra copies of your witches. Both witches actually. So it's a really flexible card. And of course for Luvia the Mirage, the new witch, it requires spells to be casted on your turn for you to get the advantage out of it. So if you want an advantage, you need plenty of spells that can be cast to your on your turn. So 2 copies of Trio would be that. And of course we have 4 copies Nice One. Nice One is the staple in every Magic World deck. Pay 1 gauge, draw 2 cards. You may only cast Nice One once per turn. So it works with Luvia as well. And of course the draw power is good. And lastly we run 4 Oops. Return a monster, item, spell on the field to its owner's hand. Yeah, this is just different art, one from the trial deck, one from the original booster set. So return a monster, you can return any monster, so preferably you want to return a monster with hefty cost, maybe something like I don't know, maybe some monster like some huge size 3 monster. Alright, so basically this card is good because it works on big monsters. So you can use it because it's counter spell. You can use it just as the huge monster is gonna attack you, and you return it to your opponent's hand. And of course, it works with items or spells, like some annoying set spell. Yeah, you can just return it to your owner's hand before you try and do anything. Yeah, so the crazy plays potential, it's good with this spell. Yeah. Okay, so it's just a really flexible card. We have to run it. So it works as a spell nullification as well. You pay 2 gauge and you return a spell to your opponent's hand. So you can like pull off some link attack shenanigans, and you can link attack. Maybe your crits add up. I don't know. Alright, for the weapons we run 3 copies Gunrod Martil. Basically it's a gun rod without burn, so either boost, either boost. You may rest this card. If you do, for this turn a monster in your field gets plus 3k power. Of course we built this deck around the 2 witches that we have, which both have double attack. So for this turn, a monster on your field gets power plus 3k. So originally the witches have 6k power, and after boosting with the item, the witches will become a 9k power awesome double attack beat stick. So of course we run Gunrod Martil, and we do not run the other Gunrod, which has 2 gauge core cost, equip cost, because 2 gauge. I just don't like having to pay 2 gauge for just an item. Alright, 2 copies of Diguita Crush Knuckle, Wizard Impact. This is Witch of Destruction here, Hati the Devastator. So pay 3 gauge, you may only cast this card if you have Wizard on your field, destroy all monsters on your opponent's field, or deal 2 damage to your opponent. So you can, it's a flexible card, again, variable skill. Basically you get to field wipe him, which you probably do not need to do because your witches have double attack, or you can use it to finish your opponent off. So all in all, I would say this deck is more of a aggro deck. No, not aggro. I would say it's more to the control side, but I would say it's control combo. Because, in case you're wondering, combo is just a deck that requires a bunch of key cards before it's really good. So I mean, it's good on its own because the witches can have double attack and stuff like that. Yeah. So probably more to the control side, because the witches, basically you can destroy monsters or restrict your opponent from attacking by reducing their power, and things like stopping link attacks. And of course the sustain in the deck is really good with 2 great spells. Yeah, I mean that's about it. Alright, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below to show me some support. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe if you'd like to see more Buddyfight deck profiles, card reviews, stuff like that. So until the next video, which would probably be a Dark Hero deck profile. Alright, see you in the next video, the Dark Hero deck profile. Goodbye!